Hello and welcome to day 7 of our 14-day road trip across America's amusement parks. In this episode, it's our first time visiting Six Flags Great America, so I'll give my reaction to this giant Six Flags park. It's a park that's currently home to 16 available roller coaster credits. With so many roller coasters, is it a case of quantity over quality, or do the coasters stand on their own feet? And with so much to do, how will we fare with stamping all the creds on our roller coaster bingo card? All this and more coming up on day 7 of our USA roller coaster road trip. Hey, this is Stu for Out and Back Travel. I make videos like this one in the hopes it can inspire your own theme park adventures. If you do like the video or find it helpful in some way, please help me out on YouTube by smashing the old like button and subscribing. Thank you. You join us on day 7 of the 14-day road trip. In the previous episode, we travelled north to experience Mount Olympus, all thanks to some hilarious $5 tickets. As that was a bit out of the way from the main route of the trip, we booked 2 nights at the Country Inn & Suites Gurnee across from the Six Flags entrance. That way we had the flexibility to do 2 days at Six Flags if we hadn't been feeling the drive out of our way up to Mount Olympus. But as we were all perky, we did do Mount Olympus, and that gave us 1 day to try and cover this gargantuan mega Six Flags park. We'd be using our Six Flags Diamond Season Pass, which meant we got upgraded parking to preferred parking, meaning we parked right at the front of the parking lot, VIP entrance at the turnstiles, 10% off food and merchandise, and free drink refills all day using our souvenir cup. We also had 4 one-shot flash passes to use at any time during the season. If you're thinking about the 2025 version of these passes, this has now changed to a prestige pass and the benefits are just slightly different. For example, you only get 1 flash pass but per visit, so potentially you could have more flash passes if you're really going to use your season pass. Let's talk coaster bingo then. Six Flags Great America is home to 16 credits as of our visit in summer 2024. American Eagle is a racing coaster with 2 individual coaster tracks, which means it counts as 2 separate credits. Unfortunately, on the start of the day, only 12 out of the 16 credits were available, and we were spited by the X-Flight wing coaster, both sides of American Eagle, and the most gutting of all, Whizzer would be closed all day. This is the coaster I was most looking forward to at this park. Growing up, my home park of Lightwater Valley had Viper, a Schwarzkopf Jetstar coaster, so to get the chance to ride the super extended version was something I was really looking forward to. Sadly for Six Flags, their spring is everyone else's summer and the ride would be delayed. So as my visit of June, the coaster was still down. So that leaves us with 12 out of 16 credits available for coaster bingo today. So let's see how we get on. The strategy for the day was to rope drop max force, as we heard this ride has quite a low throughput with its 10-seater trains, and obviously it's one of the more unique rides in the park, so we definitely wanted to make sure we tick that off today. Starting at the front of the park, like most of the public will probably do, it's probably one of the first coasters that people go to in the morning, but we decided to use the dedicated VIP season pass entrance and get a little tiny ahead of the crowd. I've been lucky enough to ride both Hypersonic XLC, yes guys, I'm really that old, and Doe Dumper at Fuji-Q Highland. So I love myself an S&S compressed launch coaster. There's nothing quite like the feeling of that sudden, almost instantaneous acceleration as these coasters launch to a ridiculous speed in literal seconds. I've always kind of likened it to the sensation of having your heart restarted by a defibrillator. It's just boom, so sudden. It's fantastic. Riding the other two S&S compressed air coasters, I had really high expectations. However, the competition was just not there. Max Force is really slow, disappointingly slow. It even had kicker wheels at the top of its first element to kind of nudge it up and over the top. The experience was over in less than 20 seconds, which was just a little bit disappointing based on the other coasters I've ridden. And it's no competition. Stealth is definitely the fastest accelerating coaster. It's not even close. Six Flags Great America has a lot of low capacity roller coasters. You've got the faff of loading into the Superman flying coaster, and then the Wild Mouse in a Box Batman the Dark Knight, the Joker free fly coaster, and the Impulse shuttle coaster, which of course only has one train on its track. Therefore, as we were already at the front of the park, we decided to go in a clockwise direction back past the entrance and towards Superman and Batman to see what we could do. Superman already had a ridiculous wait, and the line was now being measured by a calendar rather than a clock. Nicely though, Dark Knight was only a 10-minute wait, so we decided let's tick that one off, and actually we only waited about 5 minutes. These rides are really fun and quite easy on the brakes, so you get the out of control Wild Mouse theming together with a little splash of theming, and it works really well. This is such a great ride to tick off, so that's already number 2 on the coaster bingo done. Next up, we headed under the Disneyland style train tracks into the Mardi Gras section of the park. So Joker, the S&S free spin coasters, these are always bonkers, and this one had less than a half an hour wait, so we decided to suck it up and join the queue, and to be honest it wasn't too painful. The Joker gives an out of control ride as you can't brace yourself for which direction the car will flip, and I always struggle with that sensation because I'm just someone that likes to be in control. But I do always appreciate the total mayhem of this coaster type. So that's already 3 credits ticked off on the coaster bingo, so we're not doing too bad for only an hour or so in the park. Trying to knock out another low capacity ride next. The Flash Vertical Velocity is a classic intimate impulse coaster. There's nothing like accelerating, just blasting out of the station and twisting up the spiral towards the sky, and then the vertical drop on the back section of the ride. This coaster comes from the 2000s vintage, and you don't see a lot of them around, so I do appreciate it when parks have these coasters running, as I know they cost a lot of money to actually launch. As we continue to head in that clockwise direction to loop around the park, Batman the Ride was next up. It being the first of this classic inverted coaster model, we had to ride this historic ride, but I didn't want to wait an hour for it, so we'll come back to that later. Next up was Little Dipper. This is a wooden coaster that opened in 1950 at the Kiddyland amusement park in Illinois. When that park closed in 2009, Six Flags purchased the coaster and relocated to Great America. Quite a nice thing for them to do. It's a lovely classic kiddie woody, lovely pops of air. Sorry not sorry to all the children waiting in line while the adults took up the train. It's RMC time next, and Goliath is my second pure wooden RMC coaster, so I was quite excited to get on this. The line said it would be a 30-minute wait, however we probably waited 45 minutes, and that would become the trend of the day. Whatever the advertised wait is, you could probably add on at least 10 minutes more because the operations were just a bit slow and faffy. Goliath was fun, but on the shorter side, just like myself. It had a little more shake than you get on the still versions, again just like myself. But yeah, it's another one I'd like to have a couple more rides on to really get a proper feel for the experience, but with the queues today that sadly wasn't going to happen. So we thought we'd head inside for some lovely air conditioning. The Justice League Battle for Metropolis shooting ride, which are quite high budget dark rides for a Six Flags park, was advertised at a 30-minute wait, and guess what, it turned out to be 45 minutes, so the pattern continued. Ugh. The advertised wait for Raging Bull was 60 minutes, and given our experiences so far with the lines being longer in reality, we decided to break the emergency glass and use one of our 4 included flash passes that came with our Diamond Season Pass. So basically we had 4 credits for one shot or one time skip the line passes. To get a hold of these queue jump tickets, we had to register an account on the Flash Pass mobile website, then link in our Six Flags season passes, which was actually quite easy. It then showed that we had 4 credits to use, so you could just select the attraction you'd like to skip and it show you some available times, and then select the time you wanted. For Raging Bull, it had a merge point and we joined the queue just before the station. So we waited about 10-15 minutes, so it wasn't too bad. A lot better than the painful long wait in the normal queue. This is one of the first B&M hypercoasters, but has somewhat of a unique twister style layout rather than the up and down boings you usually get with this ride type. The first drop into a tunnel was fantastic. There's a wonky turnaround and then a great airtime hill. Sadly, the rest was a little forgettable, but you can't go too wrong with a B&M hypercoaster. They're great rides. Viper was next. When a coaster geek hears Coney Island cycler layout, the trauma of previous brain rattles is triggered. Just ask Matt about Bandit at Movie Park Germany. However, Viper was actually smooth, a delicious ride with a bit of airtime and fun drops. The station was chaotic though, it could really do with a batcher to control the rabble to get on the trains. We then did Demon, which was actually just walk on, just horrible janky aero. Yes, it goes through a paper mache face and it has its own theme music, but the charm can't save this. It needs track replacement and new trains. Thank you. The long lines weren't just for the rides and attractions, they were also extended to the food operations. We ate in this little food court so that we could all get something we kind of wanted. I of course went for the chicken tendies. Thankfully, since the merger with Cedar Fair has now gone through, they have abolished this $1.30 surcharge, or as Sean Bean would call it, the bastard tax. But at the time, it's just a real sting to be paying that after the 10% off, which was sneaky. So if you're planning a theme park road trip like this and you probably want to budget around $20-25 for your lunch as you are stuck in the park really, it's better to try and eat outside the park, but it's not always practical at the time of going out and coming back in can mean you just, eat up your available ride time. So definitely want to think about when you're budgeting for a big long road trip. I also love how this particular food app was really hammering the advertising that it did mobile ordering. Like mobile order, but it was actually turned off. Typical, eh? While we were enjoying our Michelin flat tire dining, X-Flight actually opened and of course the whole park joined the line. So this was 2 out of 4 of those free flash passes that came with our season passes. I'm a big fan of Swarm at home at Fort Park, so I was really looking forward to Six Flags version of Red Swarm, especially with its near misses. Sadly, it rode really uncomfortable and had a bit of roughness to it. The park only had one of its 2 interesting log flumes open. Aquaman is an arrow hydro flume, which is slightly different to a log flume, as when they get to the bottom of the drop, it's got a little bit of track that enables the boat to skim along the water, which is pretty funky. Again though, an advertised 60-minute wait, and the drop seems to send the boats through an actual car wash, which is just an unacceptable level of wetness, so sadly had to skip this one. We then went for 3 or 4 of the Flash Pass season credits, so we really burned through this day to get on Superman, which was advertising a 90 minute queue, or 1 hour 30 minutes. Skipping past this line just shows that actually it's kind of unacceptable how the park was operating. This ride was only a 1 train, completely unacceptable, especially as you're paying good money to come to these parks these days. The park operations were a little on the disappointing side and didn't really ring true with our previously largely positive experiences of visiting Six Flags parks for the past 20-something years. We ended the day of ride on Batman the Ride, thankfully now a walk on, and just like the other Batmans, this one runs well with those forces that really try and pull your feet. So that concludes our final Coaster Bingo score of 12 out of 16. Not a bad effort for the challenging operations that the park faced today. Out of the 46 attractions listed in the app, yes, I've had to count them, not counting Sky Striker as that was brand new for 2024 and hadn't opened yet, 11 of the attractions were closed, or 24% of the attractions. So basically we were visiting a park which was only running at 75% or 3/4 of its available attractions, which just isn't acceptable. The long queues show there is a demand. Really, we needed to have the fast passes to get the park covered, which was unfortunate. Not having Whizzer and the log flume ready for the season in June is just really terrible. Shuttering rides like American Eagle, so you can build your new for 2024 flat ride, which was also not ready. It's just a bad show all round. It seems like some of the attractions which make the park charming, like the train, seems to have been decommissioned. The Rapids entrance here is completely overgrown, so there's no way it's coming soon, in inverted commas, as listed inside the app. So a lot of those unique experiences that would give this park some charm and heart were shuttered, and it's a real shame to have experienced a park operating like this, as I can see the bones are there for a really great theme park. It's just a shame it let itself down today. To their credit, they did open X-Flight relatively late in the afternoon, so a little plus point for that. Sadly, I wouldn't rush back to Great America, so if you're going, I'd probably look into the skip the line service as a potential way to make this park manageable. On the next instalment of the road trip, we'll be heading south to Indiana for our first ever visit to Indiana Beach, where we'll catch up with an old friend who used to live in Yorkshire. And we'll continue on for night rides at Kings Island, where we experience the park's best night ride, and spoiler alert, it's not the Beast. Sorry, not sorry. As always, if you have any road trip planning questions, please leave them in the comments below. And until next time, stay safe on the way out and back.